Hi, my name is Roberto Cardone. I work for Smarts Proprietary Limited. It's my personal company, and I'm food, wine and coffee retail consultant. Three things that make business rock for me are: number one, be honest; number two, trust your gut feel; and number three, when you're having fun, you know you're onto something. I met Salvatore when he came to Australia in his first job. I was working at Rigoni's and bumped into him, and we just got on really well. And so he brought the whole food behind him. Angelo brought the coffee, and then Claudio, it was about age 11 apparently, he was making cakes at home with his mum, using all the Italian recipes. His mum was always upset because she had two daughters and they weren't doing the Italian thing, and her son was. But she always said, he knew he was going to be a pastry chef. We all had experience in working for people. I probably had the most experience in running a business than the others, and so I just kind of like coordinated it and put it together, and I just had a great team of people, and so we opened Cibo Ristorante in 1996 with the idea to bring of what's happening in Italy now, so that's when we started doing pasta crab, which everyone was still doing bolognese and alapanas and marinaras. We were doing, our bolognese was called ragu, which is what it's supposed to be called, but and so we had a lot of authenticity because Salvatore's roots in Italy really helped us. Claudio went to Italy and learnt to do pastries. The coffee thing, Angela and I, as cousins, we just always complained about who can make the best coffee, and we still don't let each other make each other's coffee. And when we do, it's only in front of people and we're polite. It was for people with a lot of support from parents that put up their houses as collateral for loans we took out of the bank. We opened up Cibo Ristorante, and the budget blew out from I think $450,000 to $724,000. Back then, Hudson's was opening up to Australia. There was Glory Jeans, a couple of other chains, but they were all doing the American side of. They were just copying Starbucks, really. And we just thought, well, Starbucks originated on the Italian espresso idea, and so we thought, why don't we just do the, Italian coffee thing? And somebody goes, well, I know the recipes to the food, and Claude knows the pastries. We've got Tommy that can make gelati. Angela's make coffee, and you know how to make a shop look good and get it organised. And so we went ahead and did this store. We opened up in the 28th of December, and we opened it because it was Le Mans, the car race was in Adelaide, that once. And we opened for that and New Year's Eve, and then we closed it for a week because we hadn't finished the stock. We just did it to prove to Claude we could open a business within a 5-year time limit, even though half of it wasn't working properly. And then Cibo Espresso opened up, and so.
Which was the first?
At Rundle Street. Once again, we'd gone over budget. I think we'd spent $560 on that shop back then, and it failed really badly. It failed for 9 months. I think we just couldn't push turnover past 12 or 15 grand. We had 24 seats inside. We didn't have an outdoor area, and everyone came in and sat down and thought, wow, this place is cool. I'm going to sit here all day. And people were spending like $5 to $6 a head. And it wasn't until we realised, and we actually did design everything for takeaway because we really picked up on the whole takeaway thing happening. So, and then we started doing some guerrilla marketing tactics. We never did marketing, so this was quite interesting for us to even dress people up in uniforms and stand in the mall and give away deals. Went around to the university and posted menus on the walls, doctors' offices, anyone's office, and just put catering menus up and gave them deals to do takeaway. And then it still, it started to go, but, by accident, as most things have happened, by accident for us. At the same time, the smoking laws, I think the next thing was the smoking laws came in, where you couldn't smoke within 20 metres of a public service building. And so, by this time, the water fountain was actually getting punched in by the non-smoker, going, those smokers, they always have breaks, drive me nuts. And then when they started to see them walking away from the building to have a cigarette, to have a coffee, the non-smoker and the smoker became friends and walked together to Chibo Espresso and have coffee. And takeaway started to really take off, and people working harder and faster, and so that's when our turnover, it doubled. We went from 12 to 15,000, and I think after 9 months we started to hit 24,000 a week, and then we get up to 28. I mean, and that store got close when we had it was travelling along close to $35,000 a week in sales, and you've got to think from a business that really was failing and we were just tipping money into it. Being a waiter on the floor and having that one-on-one contact with your customer, that's a touch point. We have to call that a touch point now.
Yeah.
Before it was just serving someone.
Keeping someone happy.
I remember trying to drill this into the network was, the touch points are all the staff, and we needed to set up a communication system that we could actually be able to access what they're hearing from the customer and what's their feedback, because they're the ones, that's the closest point you have. When you get to a bigger size, you're so removed from the day-to-day running, you don't actually feel and touch what's going on, and you can only dream up and see things from somewhere else and hope they're going to work. Because we are manufacturers, so like the way we control the business, we love food, and so we have a manufacturing base, and we manufacture all the food and things that go into store. So it was our way of having consistency. And that is a business you have to, manufacturing is a business that the government now acknowledges you have to invest a lot of money in to keep on growing and to keep on working. And so all the money we would make would be about growing to grow more stores, because every time we got bigger, we'd have a bigger kitchen, more equipment. The whole innovation just keeps on changing on how you process and do things to keep that economy of scale and to keep that level of quality and consistency. Most problems are just little humps. In one store, we could see 2 people managing the front of house just wasn't working, and you need one. And we noticed in any partnership you need one leader. And in this partnership there was 2 leaders and there was 2 teams of staff going against each other, and it was just toxic. Once we separated and identified who had the better traits to be out the front, who was the people's person, that person went out the front. Who wasn't went into back of house and did bookwork and ordering and systems and rostering and things like that. Once we did that, that business turnover just jumped. It was just an amazing thing. The culture, so it's just a bit like, it's in instigated change management. So we started to get a shift in the culture of the staff. People that were, we stopped focusing on staff that were negative, because if you just focus on negative staff, you just create a negative team. But negative staff do have that pulling power to actually bring you down quite easily.